So we've heard there are over 100 volunteers throughout the country in the Waterways Chaplaincy. So we decided to get in touch with the local one here, Richard Noble.
And having retired, I've always been a churchgoer, fairly active. And so I thought, what next? And I had a word from him up there who said prisons. So I went and made an appointment with the local prison chaplain. And I had 16 years working as a volunteer with the local prison chaplaincy.
Oh, brilliant. And that kind of led you naturally into joining or thinking about the Waterways chaplaincy? Or
Not at all, no. There came a stage, I have to confess that when I reached the age of 80,
blimey.
I no longer felt comfortable going through all the prison security and carrying keys and all that sort of thing. So I gave 6 months notice, and just before my 80th birthday I gave that up. And I'm a lay minister in the local church, and the vicar said to me one day, "Richard, I think you ought to be a Waterways chaplain." So I said, "Oh, what?" And he went to his sort of clothes hooks and lifted off one of these gilets.
Yeah.
And said, "This is what we wear, and we are effectively the church on the Waterways."
You started, how long ago was it? 2 years?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And as part of the chaplaincy, do you get an area you cover? Do you cover a river, a stretch of river? A bit of...
Most of the chaplains are on the canals, and they have a length of the canals, possibly taking in a marina that they look after. But here, the East Anglia Rivers hub we are. There are about 5 of us. That's because some are sort of in and half out. And it's a big area to cover. And I cover the Great Ouse from the St Neots Lock to the St Ives Lock, basically.
Oh, brilliant. There's
there's 4 or 5 marinas, according to how you count them. There are any number of boats moored alongside. And so I can only give so much time in each place.
there's only so much time in a day, isn't there? So that's quite a large area. And have you seen quite a lot of issues in the area, or is it quite a quiet area? Or
it's quite quiet. What I mainly do is get to know the boating community, and that's not difficult. The boating community is pretty cohesive. They tend to know each other. Those who are permanent residents in marinas and on groups of moorings, and they help each other. And I've found that it's been absolutely fascinating. Getting to know the river, and being an offshore sailor, it's something I hadn't ever got around to doing. And also getting to know the marinas and getting to know the boaters. And a lot of them have been offshore sailors at some stage, or they've had fishing boats or one thing and another. And at the later stage of life, they decided to live inland. So there is actually a lot in common. I speak the same language, understand their concerns.
I think that's really important. Coming from a boating background, there is a sort of community, I think, and once you're in it, you're kind of in it, and people respect the fact that you are experienced in the boating side of things, so you can talk the language, as you say.
That's important.
Yeah. And they can also empathise with you, or you can empathise with them, because you know kind of the ways of boating, sort of thing. I know that's not the right way to say it.
Well, it's all down to heating in the winter and getting the toilet stuff pumped out, all that sort of stuff. It's all part of boating, and to know it and be able to speak the language is very important, and to understand it.
Well, it's a connection, isn't it? It's a connection with the community, and as we think, boating and a marina in itself is a kind of it's a small town, it's a village, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And this marina is interesting because you've got river launches, which are basically pleasure boats. You've got the narrow boats. You've got the wide beams, like the one we're sitting on at the moment, You've got the floating homes.
Yes,
which
it's
are
quite a
sort
broad
of
spectrum here.
like a caravan on a raft, and these are permanent homes.
Yeah.
And we're just as much for them as we are for everybody else.
And I know there's been a lot over the recent years. There's a lot of challenges for people living in general, but living in boats. Have you seen more challenges living on boats over recent years, or?
I think ever since COVID, there has been an increase nationally in mental health issues. Mental health issues are now at the top of the Waterways chaplaincy tally of the issues we deal with and the things we talk about.
I mean, it's been a sort of big national thing that we've seen. People are focusing on it, and I think people are more happy. Not happy, that's the wrong word, but people are more willing to talk about it. I think the stigma's gone, hasn't it?
That is true. That is very true. Yes, and that may have something to do with it. But I think also the pressures of modern life are greater.
Yeah. There's a lot of challenges with costs of living, and I suppose just because you're living on a boat, you're not immune from any of that. There's still day-to-day costs and all that sort of thing, and there are still day-to-day struggles that, whilst the impression is given that it's an idyllic lifestyle, it's not all roses.
Well, that's why people buy boats.
Oh yeah, that's certainly true.
It's very interesting. People come to it's really a sort of life change. Either a partner dies, or they lose their job, or their circumstances change. The rent has become or the mortgage has become rather too much of the budget, and they think, oh, what about living on a boat? And it's very attractive, and there's the idea of the nature and the beautiful scenery, and they go off, and it's not too difficult buying a boat if you're selling a house. And
it's the living off grid sort of thing. Yeah.
They get onto the water, and for a couple of years they have a wonderful time, and then you get bad weather. You get cold weather, you get water level rises, you get all sorts of problems, and life becomes more difficult. And suddenly things go pear-shaped, and the issues start surfacing.
And have there been any sort of specific examples that you've dealt with that you're happy to share, or?
Yes. One particular one is fairly close to here. I have to be careful how I talk about it. But this is a lovely guy who has mental health issues. It's part of who he is, and he used to have employment during COVID. Eventually, that disappeared. When his parents died, he inherited enough money to buy a boat, and he lived on his boat very happily, and while he had a job, that was fine. He had a berth in a marina, that was fine. And then eventually he couldn't pay the fees.
Oh, right.
And the debt began to build, and eventually the marina said, no, sorry, can't have you here any longer. So he had to go and find somewhere else. And he was able to find another mooring on the river. Eventually, it was actually on the grounds of a hotel.
Oh, right.
And he was there for 9 weeks, and the hotel said, sorry, you can't really stay on here any longer. We'd love to give you an odd job or two, but we never know if you're going to be there or not. So it's you're not the sort of, we like to have reliability of whoever it is who's working for us. You'll have to find somewhere else. He managed to find another berth, not far away, and a boat owner friend of mine, knew him from when he was in the marina, and he kept an eye on him. And when I appeared on the scene and he knew what I did, he said, look, I've got this guy, this chap has a waterside business. He said, this is where his boat is. If you go down there, you'll find him, and I think you'll find you are welcome. So this is what we call a referral.
Yeah.
And this was a referral from somebody with a waterside business who happened to be a boat owner. And I can say that during my 2 years, each referral that I've had has come from either a waterside business person or marina staff.
I suppose, yeah, because I suppose they're seeing it,
They're seeing
aren't they?
it,
On
absolutely.
a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
Absolutely.